Hello everybody, this is the Simple Stokes tutorial number 2 where I'll be teaching you how to make a back rail for a robot base. So to start, we're going to hit New, and the New feature will pop up. Part is already default selected. The subtype is solid, and we'll call this back rail tutorial. Okay. So your datum planes are already displayed. You're going to select the extrude tool, placement, define a sketch. We're going to work on the front plane. Sketch. So now, right in this smaller taskbar right here is a manager called Sketch View. If you click that, it orients the screen so you see right where you're sketching. Now in the earlier tutorial we did a sketch for the 2x1 rail, which is what the back rail is made of. So we're going to hit File System up in the left corner. Select the file that we already made. Notice that there's a plus key underneath my mouse. If you click anywhere, that's where it's going to pop up. Now notice there is a crazy number up here for the scaling, so you need to make sure that that is 1, so you get the dimensions that you had made earlier. And we're going to drag that right into the center, and it should already snap to the middle. Okay? Okay. Now if we rotate out, you can see that it projects all the way across this surface, across this datum here. Up in the left corner you can select how long you want it. The back rail will only be 26 inches since the max for FRC robot is 28. We want to give a little bit of extra room just in case. I also selected midpoint right here, so instead of just coming off of this datum, it's going to be evenly between the datums dividing it. So 13 on this side, 13 on that side. Okay? I deselect all these just so I can see the model a bit clearer. Alright, so here's the back rail already made. All good, everything's all nice, and I have shading with edges turned on. You can just click shading if you don't like that. I like the shading with edges. Helps me see things a bit better. Okay, so for the next step we'll be doing another extrusion, but this will be a remove material. So it's the same process as before. You click extrude, placement, define. We're going to click this surface right here, and then we can sketch right on this surface. Okay. I like adding another center line, then using the normal tool to define that distance as 26. Now when I do sketches, I like to place center lines beforehand so that all my dimensions are already in there and that they're easily modifiable and I can see clearly where everything is. So I'm going to click normal again to get this dimension. We're going to make this 3. Make these two equal. Alright, so now I have center lines 3 inches from the edge of the rail. I like to put everything kind of defined from the edges of the rail, so if I ever change the length of the rail, let's say that you know, we need the bot to be a little bit more narrower, I can just change this dimension, and since everything's already constrained to the outer surface right here, it just moves in with the shrinking dimension. Okay, so we're going to make 2 circles. Right now it doesn't matter how big you make them, just so that they're in there. Select. We're going to make these 1/4 of an inch. Let me no hidden. Okay. So now you can see these circles. These circles are for the tensioning system that we will implement when the entire assembly is made, you'll see it a bit better. We'll make bearing blocks that bolt right through here, and it helps pull them so that the chain can be tensioned. So we're going to turn on shading with edges again. Okay. Now notice that the orange is still projecting out. So if I check this right now, I get these two little rods sticking out, but that's not what I want. So I can hit edit definition again. If you hit this arrow, the shapes will go the other way. I want them to go through this way. I'm going to select through all so that those rods go all the way through the part. And then this tool up here is the remove material tool. If I hit this, instead of adding an extrusion or a protrusion coming out, it actually removes material away. So you can see now that there's a hole right here. So I'm going to check that. There we go. Those holes are already in there. Those are all good. So the next thing that we're going to be working on is we're going to start with using the remove material tool again on this surface. Good. Input center line down here. We're going to put two horizontal center lines down here as well. So now we're going to define some dimensions. I'm going to make this 1/2 inch from the edge of the rod. I'm going to make this 0.75, but see, I think that's still a little bit too high. I can always just change it, make that 1/2 inch as well. And also the normal tool. I also want this dimension here to be 1/2 inch. I'm going to lock this dimension right now. Just make sure that they're equal all the time. Okay, everything's all nice and locked. So if I modify this now that they're equal, say probably 0.6 is a bit better. I'm going to draw circles just like we did in the last step. Make them also 1/4 of an inch or 0.25 inches. Okay, so we have 3 holes right now. If I do no hidden, you can see them a bit better. And basically what these are mount holes. If we ever need to mount anything at all, we're going to put these in so that way, 1, it lightens the material a bit, and 2, it also gives us some flexibility so that if we ever have something that goes wrong, or we want a location for bumper mounts, we have a lot of options and a lot of different places that we can mount them. Okay, once again, flip it through all, remove material, check. Okay, so we have those holes all done right there. Now if you right click on your extrude 3, there's an option that says pattern. We're going to learn the pattern tool. So we just hit the pattern, the window prompt opens up. We're going to select direction. Now basically it says I want those 3 holes to be patterned all the way down this rail. So if I just hit check right now, see how it patterned that to there, but I want them all down the rail, so I'm going to edit the definition on here. I'm going to make the distance 1/2 inch, and let's just put in a number. Let's do like 40. Alright, so we still need some more. 60, a little bit too much. Let's say like 54, 2 more, 52, 51. Okay, so basically it's 51 patterns going down to that hole, 1/2 inch apart. We're going to hit check. It's going to generate all these patterns. There we go. Now if you notice that the holes that I made earlier kind of blend in, you don't see them because they overlap. So what I'm going to do is edit this definition on this pattern again, and right where the holes that I made for the tensioning system, I want those to be clearly visible so that they don't get blocked accidentally if we accidentally decide to make some new mount or put the bumpers in, we need to get access to those. So by clicking those circles, that omits that pattern. So now you can kind of see where the tensioning system goes based on this gap right here. Okay, so we're also going to put a pattern on the top so that it's easy to bolt a secondary structure to. Later we'll be making some supports that will help hold everything together, some sheet metal supports. So for this, I don't usually put a center line in since it's just one hole. Nothing big. 1/2 inch and 1/4 inch. So if you notice while I'm doing this part, all my extrusions and cutouts follow very simple measurements, and I try to keep those measurements throughout so that that hole pattern, no matter what part I'm doing, is always the same. So if you notice, this hole lines up with this hole here, and it'll line up all the way down. That way every part will keep the same pattern, so that way it's very uniform and nothing's crazy or there's any kind of special part. So once again, I'm going to pattern, direction, select this line here all the way down. Now if I hit the drop down, it remembers the 1/2 inch already, and just remember that it was 51 patterns all the way down. Okay, so now since I made those through all, they do appear on the bottom. So now this is the back rail for a robot base that you can make. Right now this will be the first item that we'll drop in the assembly, and we'll constrain everything to this one item so that it all stays uniform. Thank you for watching, and the next one we shall be covering the side rails.